Hey, it's Matt, your average gamer, and for this video, we're going to be going over 11 fun and overpowered builds for Elden Ring. These are going to all be on New Game Plus 7. I can't wait to jump into this one. We're going to start out here with the Wings of Lightning build. This is a really cool one that mixes the Wing of Astal with incantations as well as spells. You can pretty much do anything with this build. It's really varied. Like, you have a lot of variety with this. Varied is what I meant to say. It's really awesome, though. You could use lightning incantations. I use them a lot here on Placidusa. It's an awesome build all around, and it gives you a ton to work with. Those that were looking for build requests, there's a whole bunch in this video, so don't worry about that. I've got a whole bunch more build requests for you guys. Couldn't get to all of them because there's been more of them lately, but of course, as we keep going through these pretty much every weekend or whenever I post these, I'll be continuing to do more build requests, so if you have any more, be sure to comment them below. So the whole concept you can see earlier is to use the Ash of War on the Wing of Astal. You could add Terra Magica for a boost in damage. You'll get anywhere from 3,000 to 6,000 damage that way on most of the bosses in the game. And then switch to something like Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike, Shard Spiral with Lucette Staff. You could use the Golden Order Seal to get excellent scaling. I believe we have between 330 and 350, so not bad at all. Get a lot of damage this way, and it's really cool being able to use all this stuff in a single build on New Game Plus 7. I also want to ask how you guys are doing today. Are you still playing a lot of Elden Ring lately? And what games are you looking forward to and playing? I always ask that, so I'm curious as well. You can comment below and let me know. Night Rain's been a lot of fun, but I feel like it's on hold now until they come up with more bosses, more of the Everdark Sovereigns, which I think come out in another week or so that's not too bad. Overall, been really having a great time jumping back in Elden Ring, though. It's been fantastic. Creating some of these more unique and different builds. Really a lot of fun with these ones, especially this one. Wanted to start with this one because it's awesome. Don't forget you got that cool charged attack on the Wing of Astal that gives you an FP free beam. Let's jump into equipment. And we have the Wing of Astal, plus 10 preferably. We have Lucette's Glintstone Staff, plus 10. Golden Order Seal, plus 10. We have part of the Rakshasa set on, and then we have the Banished Knight Helm on. It's kind of a cool look here. We have the Godfrey Icon, Magic Scorpion Charm. We have the Shard of Alexander. We have Phlox Canvas Talisman. It's very much a hybrid build. We have the Blood Second Crack tier, Magic tier. Let's talk about stats. And we have 50 Vigor, 20 Mind, 27 Endurance. I wish I could get a little bit more Mind here. 55 Intelligence, 33 Faith. We have Terra Magica, Golden Vow, Halashaburi, Shard Spiral, Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike, and Stars of Ruin. And next up here, we have the Rot and Poison King build. This is a really cool one that gives you poison on a Grave Scythe with spinning strikes, as well as the ability to use Scarlet Aeonia. I've always butchered that word for some reason. Anyways, back to this. We're able to get a lot of HP off by combining the two. You're going to see a tick of about 75 HP going down. And then Poison does proc. It doesn't proc Kindred of Rot's Exaltation. Probably when the Rot procced, I didn't get it either because of the fact that Astal's so big. I think I was standing a little bit too far away from where his body is. But he does end up getting the Poison proc too. You're going to see it add up. It ends up being 100 and something per second or whatever it is, and the damage ends up being incredible. Honestly, his health just starts ticking down like crazy, and the damage becomes quite ridiculous. And now we are at the point where I believe a lot of his HP is going to start coming off, and you're going to see it hitting him twice. And there it is right there. He's now losing about 100 HP per every time it ticks down. So that's pretty cool. This adds poison and rot. Really cool build overall. You get a lot of damage from the Grave Scythe as well. Somebody asked me for a status effect build for the Grave Scythe. Another person asked me for a poison build. I put them together here for a Grave Scythe poison build that could use the incantation Scarlet Aeonia as well. Combination is really deadly. As you can see on New Game Plus 7, Astal went down incredibly fast. This actually be a really good build for him overall. Let's jump into equipment and stats. We have the Poison Grave Scythe, plus 25 preferably, with spinning strikes. We have the Dragon Communion Seal. We have the Mushroom Crown on, part of the Knights Cavalry set. Blades Armor on, Blides. Shard of Alexander, Kindred of Rot's Exaltation, Rotten Wing Sword Insignia. We have Millicent's Prosthesis. For our tiers, we've got the Thorny tier and the Faith tier. Let's jump into stats. And for this one, we have 55 Vigor, 18 Mind, 26 Endurance, 40 Strength, 45 Arcane, 35 Faith. We have Golden Vow, Flame Grant Me Strength. We have Blessings Boon and Scarlet Aeonia. Next up here, we have the lightweight Brawler build. This is a really cool one that uses the Blue Dancer charm, gets you under, I believe, 8 equipment load, and of course adds bleed buildup, posture damage, and more. Now, posture becomes really difficult on New Game Plus 7. It probably reset there anyway. You're going to need consistent charge attack hits and whatnot to keep up with it, really, on New Game Plus 7. It's very difficult. Otherwise, this will break a lot of bosses on other journeys, of course. You get bleed build up as well. You saw the proc at the end there. It's pretty awesome. Of course, the extra damage from the Blue Dancer Charm. We have the Heavy Star Fist plus 25, preferably. With Endura, of course. We have the Frenzied Flame Seal. We have Lord of Blood's Exaltation. We have Blue Dancer Charm. We have the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman. We have the Axe Talisman. And then for our tiers, we have the Bloodsucking Crack tier, Spike Crack tier. Keep in mind, you could add the White Mask, but that might put you over 8. We have 60 Vigor, 20 Mind, 30 Endurance, 66 Strength, 25 Faith here. We have only 10 Dexterity, you don't need much, 11 Arcane. Starting class was Hero, I believe, for all of these. Golden Vow, Flame Grip Me Strength, Blessing Spoon, and Blood Flame Blade as well for bleed buildup. And next up here, we have Eleonora's Rivers of Blood build. This is a really cool one, which allows you to use Eleonora's Pole Blade and then switch to the Rivers of Blood, allowing you to use both. They both have similar scaling, and you need more Arcane than you do Dexterity. You don't need a lot of Dexterity for either weapon. They actually do really well with Arcane, because that's for the bleed buildup, but that's also for the fire damage on the weapon as well that scales with Arcane. So it's really cool to just add like 50 Arcane is what I have for this build, a decent amount of that. Kind of like minimum dex or lower dexterity, get a good amount of bleed build-up and damage, and being able to switch between both these really cool weapons. Eleonora's Pole Blade I haven't covered in a while. A lot of people always request that weapon. It's really popular. It's not the most overpowered weapon in the game, but it is fun to use. And the Rivers of Blood, of course, you can mix in too for some decent damage and bleed build-up. Of course, this dragon is fairly resistant against fire and bleed. Decently, at least so. But it doesn't matter. We're still able to get a couple of bleed procs ultimately, and we will take him down shortly here. I like the ability to switch between these two since they have similar stats. And then, of course, you'll get decent scaling with the Dragon Communion Seal as well. So that's another bonus to this build. Should be another bleed proc here. There is one right there. Didn't proc again, though. You'll see that with you saw that with Astal earlier if you were watching, with the Poison and Rot not proccing Kindreds. It happens with some of the bigger bosses when you do proc bleed. If you're a little bit too far away from the center of their body, you don't get the boost from Lord of Blood's Exaltation. You have to be like super close. That was something I always wish they fixed, because you'll notice that happens on the Fire Giant really frequently too. You'll proc bleed on him. It's very obvious when you do because it takes off a lot of HP, but it doesn't proc Lord of Blood's Exaltation sometimes because you're standing so far under him. But anyway, on to the next thing. We're going to go into equipment now. Eleonora's Pole Blade plus 10. We have Rivers of Blood plus 10. You can switch between the two. Dragon Communion Seal plus 10. Part of the Knight's Cavalry set on, and we have the Great Helm on. We have the Shard of Alexander. Lord of Blood's Exaltation. We have Rottenwing Sword Insignia. We have Millicent's Prosthesis. And then we have the Bloodsucking Crack tier, Thorny tier. Let's jump into stats. And we have 60 Vigor, 21 Mind, 29 Endurance, 16 Strength, 26 Dexterity, 25 Faith, 50 Arcane. We have Golden Vow, Flame Grip Strength, Blessing Spoon. Swarm of Flies goes really well with this, and we hit 54 poise. And next up here, we have the Black Blade Knight build. It's a really cool one that uses the Golden Order Greatsword in combination with the Black Blade Incantation as well as Black Flame. Love the whole combination of everything that we have going on here. A lot of holy damage, really cool weapon, and then being able to switch to a powerful incantation and then have a backup one as well for percentage damage ends up turning this into a really cool build. Yeah, I ended up liking this one a lot. This is a really unique build in terms of being able to use a lot of like holy damage and stuff while also using the Golden Order Greatsword, which you don't see that often because the Astral War takes a little bit, it's a little bit long to use. It takes a little bit to learn for sure. As far as Black Blade, that's going to do percentage and holy damage too, so it fits the build completely with the Holy tier and the Sacred Scorpion Charm. Again, you're going to have that initial explosion. Now, you don't always have to use the beam. You can get damage on the explosion if you're under a target as well or near a target. But if you can get the beam in, that's probably the best damage part of the Ash of War and pretty much the coolest part of the Ash of War as well. For me, I really like the Golden Order Greatsword. I always feel like it was a little bit of an underrated weapon, and it does work well in DLC because a lot of the DLC bosses are weak to holy damage. Now, for the end game, base game stretch, Golden Order Greatsword is not going to be great, much like the Sacred Relic Sword and much of the other holy weapons in the game. But for the DLC, it truly is a fantastic weapon and a lot of fun to use. New Game Plus 7, you can make it work. The dragon does take a lot of holy damage, but it will work for most of the bosses in the game if you're able to get the Ash of War off and mix it with Black Blade. In a second here, we're going to go over equipment stats, everything you need to know for a really cool Golden Order Greatsword build. We have the Golden Order Greatsword plus 10 preferably. We have the Erdtree Seal. We have the Tree Sentinel set on and Leda's armor on. I always pronounce her name wrong. Probably did there. Shard of Alexander, Sacred Scorpion Charm, Phlox Canvas Talisman, Erdtree's Favorite plus 2, which is a really good talisman, Holy Tier, Bloodsucking Crack Tier. Let's jump into stats. And we have 55 Vigor, 22 Mind, 27 Endurance, 16 Strength, 21 Dexterity, 70 Faith. We are using Golden Vow, Black Flames Protection for some extra defense, Blessings of the Erdtree, Black Blade, and Black Flame. And next up here, we have the Great Executioner build. This is a build you may have seen before because I did this one for my high-level builds. It was a combination between Mariah's Executioner Sword and Pest Threads. It's a really cool one. I did it at a high level, decided to try it at 150 to see if it still works, and it turns out it does. It can do massive damage even at 150, splitting your stats up a bit for Mariah's Executioner Sword. It's a strength and arcane weapon, and then using the Dragon Communion Seal to get good damage out of Pest Thread Spears as well from the DLC, which could take down big targets really fast. Yeah, this was one I really wanted to try. I absolutely wanted to try this from the high-level build video that I did and kind of turn it into a 150 build for those that don't really level past 150. Turns out it's really good. I enjoyed this a lot. Let's see, Pest Thread Spears there, get around 5,000 damage. We're also getting 7,000 damage with the Astrovore on Mariah's Executioner Sword as well. Make sure you do your buffs, of course. We're using Golden Bow, Flame Grant Me Strength. I'll go over that later. But the more buffs you do with Mariah's Executioner Sword, the better the damage is. It's one of those weapons that's a little bit gimmicky, but if you add buffs to it, it does have a high ceiling. And Pest Thread Spears, obviously, is incredible against bigger bosses in the game. It can absolutely shred them. It works really well against Elden Beast, Bale from the DLC, Plesnusa. All those big bosses take a lot of damage from it. Mariah's Executioner Sword plus 10. We have Dragon Communion Seal plus 10. We have the nice Cavalry set on and the Great Helm on. We have the Shard of Alexander, Godfrey Icon. We have the Rotten Wing Sword Insignia, Melissen's Prosthesis. We have the Bloodsucking Crack Tier, Thorny Tier. Let's jump into stats. And we have 55 Vigor, 19 Mind, 27 Endurance, 40 Strength, 40 Arcane, 26 Faith, 20 Dexterity. We're using Golden Vow, Flame Grant Me Strength, Blessings Boon, and of course, Pest Thread Spears. Last week we had a Zeus Warrior build. Now we have a Lightning Warrior build. I kind of like the Warrior Lightning themes. This is a totally different one though with the Dragon Scale Blade. This is going to give you Frost build up on your weapon. You're going to be using a Katana, which is really cool. And then of course we've got a really cool armor set that gets us actually over 51 poise for this one. And then we can use something like Fortisax's Lightning Spear as well as Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike. And if you want to use something like Knight's Lightning Spear, regular Lightning Spear, all that stuff's going to work with a build like this one. Had a lot of fun with this one. This was probably one of my favorite ones on here, to be honest, because I really like the whole theme builds. I do a couple of the theme builds per video. Some of them are just weapon build requests, and then other ones like this are just stuff I make up for fun. A couple people asked for the Dragon Scale Blade because I haven't looked at it in a long time, and it is a cool and really fun weapon. Adding it to a build where we could use a combination of Faith and the Dragon Scale Blade, I think makes it even better because the weapon itself is a little bit mid. But again, it's an incredibly fun and cool looking weapon. There's no doubt about that. It's going to give you Frost build up too. We have the Dragon Scale Blade plus 10 preferably. We have the Gravelstone Seal, of course, plus 25. We have the Tree Sentinel set on and the Champion Pauldron on. This is a really cool one, 53 poise there. Shard of Alexander, Godfrey Icon, Phlox Canvas Talisman, we have the Lightning Scorpion Charm, and then we have the Lightning Tier, Bloodsucking Crack Tier. Let's talk about stats. 55 Vigor, 20 Mind, 25 Endurance, 16 Strength, 35 Dexterity, 60 Faith, Golden Vow, Halash Shabiri. We have Blessings Boon, Fortisax's Lightning Spear, regular Lightning Spear or Knight's Lightning Spear, and Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike. Next one's fairly basic, but we have a Posture Breaker build. A lot of people forget how good Square Off is. I missed the first one there because of his hitbox. It's really amazing for poise damage. It actually does around 40 poise damage per the charge attacks on it. On New Game Plus 7, you can actually get some breaks with this weapon, and breaks are really hard on New Game Plus 7 because poise is increased by 30-something%. And even so, Square Off shines as one of the few things you can use to break poise and to get good damage as well. Of course, we have the brass shield for some protection, and we're using Verlana's cameo to make sure that when we hold it, we get the extra damage boost, which also was an addition from DLC that increases the damage of Square Off. It's really a underrated Ash of War that people ask for from time to time, and it's quite good. I really have no complaints about Square Off. It's probably the best Ash of War that you could put on a straight sword, maybe that and Stormblade. Really amazing. You should check this one out if you want to look for a build that's going to break posture, even on New Game Plus 7. We have the heavy broadsword, plus 25 preferably with Square Off. We have the brass shield. We have the claw mark seal. We have the entire Knight's Cavalry set on with the altered helm. Shard of Alexander. We have the Great Shield Talisman. Of course, we mentioned this before, Verlana's cameo for holding that stance. Erdtree's favorite +2. Bloodsuck and Crack tier. Greenburst Crystal tier. Let's jump into stats. And we have 60 Vigor, 20 Mind, 30 Endurance, 66 Strength, 10 Dexterity, 25 Faith. For our buffs, we're using Golden Vow, Flame Grant Strength, Blessings Boon, and we have 53 Poise. We broke 51 for most of these. And next up on here, we have a Gargoyle Samurai build. It's a little bit of a samurai look here that we got going on. And I forgot to use Craigblade initially. I use it here. But this is going to be a Craigblade build where you two-hand the Gargoyle's Twin Blade in heavy affinity just for good physical damage all around and some poise damage. It ends up being one of those things where you could boost the weapon from the Axe Talisman as well as all the successive attack stuff because it's a multi-hit on the charged attacks. Really cool one to try this one out if you want a lot of damage. And if you want to just run up and hit bosses real quick and have a mixed playstyle that uses light and charged attacks. Let's jump into equipment. And we have the Gargoyle's Heavy Twin Blade, plus 25 preferably. With Craigblade, we have the Claw Mark Seal, we have the Iron Casa, Bulgoat Chest Piece, Champion Bracers, and Land of Reeves Greaves. We have the Rottenwing Sword Insignium, Listens Prosthesis. We have Two-Handed Sword Talisman. We have the Axe Talisman as well. And then for our tiers, we have the Bloodsuck and Crack tier, as well as the Spike Crack tier. If you don't want to use the Bloodsuck and Crack tier, you could use the Thorny tier. Both of those will work for this build. Let's jump into stats. And we have 60 Vigor, 20 Mind, 30 Endurance, 66 Strength. We two-hand this, that's going to be like 99, 25 Faith, Golden Vow, Flame Gripping Strength, Blessing Spoon, and we have 66 Poise. Next up, we have a Scythe Champion build. This is going to use the Wing Scythe and the Halo Scythe. Now, the Halo Scythe is going to give you some range and distance ability to do holy damage, and the Wing Scythe up close is going to give you good physical damage and a little bit of bleed buildup. Not a ton of bleed buildup, but some. Works on some bosses. This dragon's pretty resistant, so probably not going to get a bleed proc here. He also spins the camera on me a lot here because of what I was trying to do with the Halo Scythe's Ash of War, which again, you could spam like crazy for a lot of holy damage. Doesn't cost a ton of FP either, so works really well that way. And the Wing Scythe, of course, if you get up and close, you can then use that Ash of War to do a good amount of physical damage. And you get a good amount of poise when you're using that Ash of War too. It's decent, you know, in terms of not getting knocked out of it. You can be knocked out of it, but it's pretty good poise-wise. All around, really love this build. I love scythes in general. I think they're a lot of fun to use. I think they're another underrated class like straight swords. A lot of people like the Grave Scythe specifically, but there's other scythes you can run and make them work too. This is one of those that you can absolutely make work. If you use jump attacks and you switch between the ashes to use them at the right moments, for example, the Wing Scythe, when you're up and close, if you get a distance away, switch to the Halo Scythe's Ash of War, you can make this work, and they both scale similar too. They have very, very similar scaling in the sense of being both dexterity as well as faith, so that's cool too, and it just adds to making the build, you know, make sense. And a decent amount of damage is what you'll get from this one. It's not going to be super overpowered. It's more along the lines of fun, but it is a really fun one that does decent damage as well. Definitely worth trying if you like scythes. Let's jump into equipment. We have the Wing Scythe plus 10. We have the Halo Scythe plus 10. We have the Erdtree Seal. We have the Knight's Cavalry set on, well, two pieces of it with Ronin chest piece and the Greaves of Solitude. And then we have the Shard of Alexander, Sacred Scorpion Charm. We have the Claw Talisman. I guess you could add the Raptor's Black Feathers to this build as well. Erdtree's favorite +2, Holy tier, Bloodsuck and Crack tier. Let's talk about stats. We have 55 Vigor, 22 Mind, 27 Endurance, 21 Dexterity, 70 Faith. We're using Golden Vow, Black Flame's Protection, and Blessings of the Erdtree. Next one up on here is the only one that's fairly basic, and that's because a couple people asked me for a Bleed and Frost build with Twin Blades. Another person specifically asked me for one for the Gargoyle's Twin Blades, and this is probably the only one on the list that I've actually done before. and I think it probably made my last top 25 or whatever for New Game Plus 7, probably like 6 months ago or more. I wanted to do this one again, though, because a couple of people asked for it, so I redid the stats and everything. I think I made it a little bit better. Ultimately, though, it's still the same concept, and again, the only basic one on here that really didn't need a name or anything, it's going to build up Frost and Bleed. These dragons have a ton of HP, by the way, on New Game Plus 7. You can see their one jump was like 16,000 damage, and that wasn't even like a substantial amount of his HP. It's actually crazy how much health they have in the DLC with New Game Plus 7 and DLC Plus. So Bleed and Frost is going to be a good style of play to run through the DLC. Anything that does percentage damage really is going to excel. Of course, Bleed and Bleed is better. People always ask me which is better, Bleed and Frost or Bleed and Bleed. The same answer is always going to be true. Bleed and Bleed is always going to be better. It's better to have a consistent build in terms of build up than two different things. Now, I know status effects do go up in terms of the resistances as the fights go on, but it just doesn't seem to compare to Bleed and Bleed because it takes a while to get that left one to proc, the Frost. And usually you're only going to end up with about one Frost proc, maybe two if you're incredibly lucky. You're really going to be building more off of Bleed. So if you have two in Blood Affinity, that's going to be even stronger. We have the Gargoyle's Blood Twin Blade plus 25, preferably with Seppuku. We have the other one in Cold Affinity with Chilling Mist, Dragon Communion Seal. We have the Raptor's Black Feathers. You could add the White Mask if you want more damage. I tried to avoid that for this video. Lord of Blood's Exaltation, Claw Talisman, Rotten Wing Sword Insignia, Bliss's Prosthesis. And then for our tiers, we are going to have the Blood Second Crack tier, Thorny tier. Let's talk about stats. Tried to mix up the armor sets and not use the same stuff over and over again. 55 Vigor, 27 Endurance, 19 Mind, 40 Strength, 40 Arcane, 26 Faith. We have Golden Vow, Flame Grip Me Strength, Blessing Spoon. That was the same stat spread as the Pest Threads one. That's why I had one extra point of Faith. And check this out. This was on the character that's going to be going into Journey 42 next. And if you want to see me do a weapons tier list or a weapons ranking of the best weapons in the game, on New Game Plus 7, that character will be jumping in Journey 42 to do that, so be sure to comment if that's something you want to see. I've never ranked the base and the DLC weapons together, apparently, in one video ever, so I do like a top 20 or 25. If that's something you want to see, definitely comment below. If you have any build requests, be sure to let me know for sure, also in the comments below. And of course, be sure to sub. Don't forget to subscribe, turn the bell notification on so you know when I post, and I will catch you guys in the next video.